Okay, and as a recap, suspect wanted 19-year-old Zohar Tsarnaev, his brother 26-year-old Tamerlan Tsarnaev, who was shot in that gun battle with police late last night in Watertown. I'm going to bring back in Alan Bonner, risk crisis specialist. Where do you stand right now? What are you taking from some of the information that we're receiving into our newsroom?
Well, it's obviously great the cops caught one of them. It would have been much better had they not killed him, because when you interrogate and debrief somebody, you find something out. There are a lot of people watching today, as my mother said, what could ever cause anyone to do this? Well, let's go back in history. In the risk and crisis management field, you study past cases to learn how to deal with future cases. The Texas sniper who shot, I think, 14 people out of a tower in Austin in the early 60s had a lesion in the back of his brain which caused delusions. Sometimes the problems of the mind are actually physical problems of the brain, and when you remove the lesion, you remove the erratic behavior. These people may have been motivated by political matters. Who knows? But it would be useful and helpful to find out. Now, the locking down of a neighborhood, probably the best case ever was the Iranian hostage taking in London. The embassy, the Iranian embassy, was taken by terrorists, and the SAS found out quite accidentally that this was going on. There's a lot of happenstance in police work. You know, you just happen upon something. So it was a retired dog handler saw something funny, reported to the SAS. SAS was going to go out of town, but they canceled the drill and went and, without the hostage takers knowing, built a complete replica of the Iranian embassy to practice taking it. They diverted flights over the embassy to create noise. They occupied buildings beside it and drilled holes into it. And they then went and saved all but one person. And that's just excellent, excellent work. And you know, some of our police officers are capable of that. GSG-9 in Germany, SAS, the French, and what have you. So that may be what's going on here. If they know where he is, they may be surrounding the place without our knowing. And I don't think anybody minds misinformation, no information, or disinformation if that's where they're at.
Right, because I mean, again, the images that we are showing you right now are from at least half an hour ago. Any live shots that we're taking you to are very generic shots. We're not showing you, and perhaps we don't even know some of the scenes. We can't get access to any of those scenes, and that's why, and media have been told, let us do our job right now. We will update you.
Right. Well, media, you know, people love to hate journalists, and that's fine. And in ancient times, I used to be one, so I'm familiar with that. But there are documented cases of media really making a situation a lot worse. But, and I've counseled police officers as a consultant about this, there are documented cases of media saving lives. If you show hostage takers a picture of being surrounded by police and military, it may diffuse the situation. They may give up. So the media, you know, as Shakespeare said, there's nothing good or bad, but thinking makes it so. The situation makes the media good or bad.
Alan, the releasing of that video at the Boston Marathon, crucial, because the amount of times it was viewed, circulated, and I mean, it seems that it brought us to where we are today. And that's one of the situations we're talking about, and where media can disseminate that information, can get the word out there, can get the public on board. Now,
the myth of the mastermind criminal has to be dispelled here for a moment. You know, police in part depend on the stupidity of perpetrators. If you and I were going to do something dastardly, I don't think we would think, I know, we'll wear baseball hats backwards. That will really confuse everybody. Look, there's technology out there that will take a picture of your face, even if you're wearing glasses, a turtleneck sweater, a hat, a scarf, and that technology can identify your face in a crowd. And that's what I predicted, I think, with you yesterday. I said, they've got this technology, they're feeding everybody's face into this, and how long did it take to get these folks? I think in fairness, one thing we need to talk about as a free and democratic society is, how does everybody feel about Lord and Taylor having a camera that will take the picture of everybody walking up and down the street across the road from them where they are. Let's say it was the Eaton Centre.
Right.
Let's say it's your camera here. It's what's called mission creep. We've talked about the TTC cameras, and we think that's great. If there's going to be a perpetrator and this is a...
We'll catch them, get a clear image.
Yeah, and if it's a deterrent, great. But what happens when they start taking pictures of people who aren't using the TTC, walking down the sidewalk, walking across the street from a store? Boy, I'm glad they caught these people, but we have to have that discussion in a free and democratic society.
Well, where do you go from there, right? I mean, what is your position on that? Because we can always say, that's great. This provided us the visuals, it provided us the images, but if you're an innocent person and you feel that sense of violation?
If it were going to save the life of one of my family members, I would argue hammer, tong, tooth and nail in favor of taking a picture of every single living, breathing person 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But as a philosophical matter about democracy, I think most of us want some sort of fence around that public policy and not be photographed. I mean, for example, there's a prohibition against photography in washrooms, say in retail outlets, and rightly so. So I mean, you know, I equivocate on that issue because I think everybody's of two minds about that. Is it me they're taking a picture of it? Is it bad guys? Is it my family members? Is it me in an elevator? Do I want the world to know I'm in that building visiting a healthcare professional or whatever? You know, it's tough.